What if I told you that you could walk into any thrift store and find twice as many items, more profitable items that are worth selling online without relying on brands? Because most people think that if they can't find the right brands, then they're stuck. And that's exactly what I've thought too in the past. But since then, I've made over 100,000 selling used clothes online, and I help other people do the same. Well, my name is LeeMeier, and this difference with this shift that led me to be able to make 100,000 right where I live happened because of what I'm going to be showing you in this video. And that was a shift when in my thinking when it came to brands and being brand dependent. What you're going to learn in this video is why relying on brands is holding you back, what buyers are actually looking for, and how to start finding items right where you are, right where you live, without having to rely on brands alone. Now, the problem is that a lot of people think brands are everything. And that's what I thought too. I thought that if I don't know brands, I'm not going to be successful. And so, what did I do as a new seller? Probably just like you, I went and Googled what are the best brands to sell? What should I be selling? Give me the BOLO list, give me the brand list. And so, with my first few sourcing trips as a brand new reseller, I walked into the thrift store with those brand lists in hand. And I went and looked for all of the brands that these big names said would be there. And I left so disappointed because I couldn't find a single one. And maybe that happens to you as well. Or maybe you do find the brands and they're marked up. You might walk into a thrift store, scan for brands, see the prices, and then end up leaving with nothing and wondering, how is this working for other people? And can it really work for you? Because that was the place where I was at as well. And I frankly almost let that hold me back. Now, real quick, before we get into exactly what it is that is selling online that is not brand dependent, a little bit about me. My name is LeeMeier, and I live in Washington State along with my family. We've got 4 kids, my husband, Brian, and myself. Oldest is about 17, youngest is 3. Gonna be 4 this summer, which is crazy. But reselling has done so much for me, and it's led me to where I am today, to be able to have the freedom that I have, to be able to give me the life that I get to live with my family, being able to enjoy them and not having to be a slave to a boss, being able to have that time freedom. And that has done so much for me. It's led me to be able to move to our dream house, be able to pay off our mortgage because of reselling. And that's something that I never could have imagined as a stay-at-home mom. I love my family. I've been living in the Pacific Northwest my entire life, and I'm so excited about being able to help other people experience this freedom. But I want you to know I'm not one of the gurus that you might see on the internet. I'm just a regular, normal, everyday person, mom of 4. And so the biggest shift that changed everything for me was realizing that the problem wasn't the thrift stores. It wasn't not being able to find the brands. It wasn't that the items were too marked up. Because when you're relying on brands and you're relying on only those marked up items, you're really only seeing a tiny fraction of what is actually valuable. And you could actually be skipping over a lot of things that are more valuable than just relying on brands alone. So the shift that I want you to think about is, instead of asking, is this a good brand, that your new mindset be, Why would somebody buy this? And this is what I call buyer-based sourcing. This is where it gets exciting because these are the things that actually sell. These are the things that buyers are actually after. Now, real quick, some of the people that I've helped, I'm going to show you, by the way, in just a second, 5 different categories of items besides brands to be able to look for. But real quick, I want you to meet Stephanie, and she's one of the people that I've been able to help. She came to me because she was in a place where she just felt stuck. She was a single mom. She wanted to be able to stay at home with her daughter, and she was working at a job that she just hated, and she felt like the life was being sucked out of her. And so I was able to give her that help, be able to get her on her feet. She was actually able to leave her job and be able to stay at home with her daughter. I'm so excited that we were able to connect through this amazing thing called the internet. And then there's William, and he was also kind of in the same place where he just hated his job and he wanted a way out. And so he did like a lot of people do and just Googled, what do I sell? And came across me, ListingToFreedom and the Empowered Reseller, and was able to get that help and actually be able to leave his job. And it's not just a couple of unique stories. It's really a lot of people that I've been able to help along the way. I think of Alexis, who was able to make her first $500 in her first week. I think of Joy that was able to purchase a new water heater for her family. Paula that's having a couple $1,000 months of something that she never thought was possible, a hobby that she loves, and that she's able to spend more time with her adult kids. Now, what buyers actually care about, these are the 5 drivers of every purchase. Most buyers are not standing there thinking, is this a good brand? They're looking for other things. They're asking, does this fit what I want? Does this match my style? Does this solve a problem? Does this feel like me? So instead of brands, we start actually looking at what delivers, what actually sells. And so the first thing here is style and aesthetic. Now, this is a huge one because this is really about the look of the item and how it makes the person feel. It's things like Y2K and whimsy goth. That's a huge one right now. Minimalist and cottagecore. People are shopping for a look. And this is where things can get really interesting because instead of making $4, you're making $71. Instead of $4, you're making $800 in some cases, like this dress here in the middle. Or instead of $6, you're making $145, all because you sourced that item based off of the look. Not only that, but you knew how to position it, you knew how to market it, and you knew the words to use to be able to command that higher price. And this is really a huge part of what I teach and everything that I do because there's so much potential here. So many more opportunities to be able to source items, to be able to make more profit on those items. And in a lot of cases, these types of items sell for substantially more than just the brands that everybody is telling you to go after. The next type of item are what I call activity-based items, or they're items that are based off of the function or the intent for the use of the item. And this one gets overlooked by a lot of people. This is things like workwear, travel wear, clothes for hiking, clothes for specific activities. For example, going in the water, a wetsuit, another personal flotation device, things like motorcycle, things like different jobs, whether it's a chef or a nurse or other jobs that require a specific type of clothing to be worn. And so this is another huge category that is not necessarily brand dependent, where buyers are spending real money. The third category is materials and fabrics. And this is where quality really comes in. This is things like wool and linen and cashmere and leather, but it's also the fabrics, what's not on the tag. This is how the materials are actually blended together. And you can think of this kind of like the texture, what that garment feels like. That's the fabric. And this could be things like Swiss dot or ripstop. And this is something that buyers actually care a lot about, but not all sellers, actually, very few sellers are covering fabrics. Now, with both material and fabrics, it's really a lot about how it performs and how it feels. And buyers are willing to pay up for that. So, just a few examples here, real quick. Over on the left, this is a mall brand. And with this one, it sold for $85 because of a combination of the fabrics, but also the style keywords that were used. So in some cases, these categories can overlap a little bit. Here in the middle, this is also another combination of a style-based sourcing, as well as a fabric that buyers are really after right now. And this is a no-name brand, and this sold full price for $175. And then over on the right, that's a completely unbranded item, just a no-name item. And that one sold full price for $30, basically just off of the texture, the fabric, and some of those style-based keywords that were used. Now, the fourth thing that gets really exciting, and this is one that a lot of sellers overlook, and this is the detail in items. And this could be the construction details. These could be minor details where it's just maybe a single word that tells you that that item is valuable. This is really where money is hiding. It can be things like the embroidery, the distressing, different features that are on the hardware that you might not really think about. Some of the stitching, sometimes, again, just little words that give the clue that these items are more profitable. These are the things that make an item stand out. And they're actually things that buyers are searching for. So, a few more examples for you here. Up on top, this one has just a small detail on it that buyers are after. And it's a way to be able to recognize that item, to be able to recognize value. That pair of jeans went for $825. Like, mind blown. That is crazy. Almost $1,000. And then here in the middle, that's another pair of jeans with just a very small detail. Again, that one went for $480 on auction. And over on the right, this is a t-shirt. Again, another small detail that you could catch on the tag if you were paying attention, just small little words. That one sold on auction with 22 bids for $316. So hopefully by now you're seeing the power of this, the power of not having to rely on brands alone. And then the fifth type of item are vintage or old or unique items. And these are things where people are really paying up for because they can't just go and buy them new. This is one of my favorite categories to sell in. And a lot of times these are items that thrift stores miss. And if you're a bin shopper, a lot of times these are the items that will end up at those bins. So a few examples for you here. This is a jean jacket from Arizona, which I believe is a JCPenney's company. That one sold for $55. Down here on the bottom, this is an Adidas pullover shirt. It's not even a sweatshirt. That one sold for $56. Super thin. Every reseller passed this by. It's even stained. And I happened to spot that. And that turned out to be a really good flip. And then a couple dresses here on the bottom, one that went for $100. And then over in the middle, that's a $70 sale. just a super fun dress that I actually thought was a bed sheet as I saw it being tossed from reseller to reseller. No, none of them even looked at it twice. I grabbed that and saw, okay, I think this is something valuable. Hindsight probably could have got a little more for that. And then up here on the top, this one is a really interesting one because it's not a vintage item, but it is an older discontinued item. And this is a bra from Victoria's Secret where the style isn't made anymore. And so this is another really great example of when things are not readily available just to the mass market and somebody loves that item, they're willing to go and spend more money on this. And so that bra went for $70, which is crazy. It being used and not a new bra or anything like that, but $70 because it is a discontinued style. Now, here's where this all connects. I've kind of hit a little bit on keywords and using those words in your title because this is really how you connect the buyer with the items that they're looking for. And this is a piece that I find that a lot of sellers struggle with. They find something good, but then they don't necessarily know how to list it in a way to be able to get it found. So instead of throwing just random words into your title, this is actually what I teach. And this is my cake layer title framework where we actually layer in these different titles. It's very simple. So what the item is, the style, the features, the material, the buyer intent, things like the print and the aesthetic. And this is really how buyers are searching. And the more of these that you can hit on with this layer, the more that you can stack up, the more yeses that you can get, the higher the likelihood that item is not only going to sell, but it's going to sell for more money. Now, the vision that I want you to see is this, that when you walk into a thrift store, say the next time that you head outsourcing, instead of skipping 80% of the racks and going, okay, no good brands are here, you start seeing things everywhere. You start seeing that value and things that you would have normally walked right past. Instead, you start finding 10 items, 20 items, maybe even more. And not just more items, but better items. That's everything that I do is to help you be able to make more money without working harder, to work smarter, not harder, right? Items that stand out, items that get clicks, items that are trending right now, items that actually sell. That is really what this can help you do because when you're no longer limited by brands, you've really opened up the entire store. You've taken the lid off of what is holding you back. And here's the bigger picture. The secondhand market is growing extremely fast. Buyers are looking for quality. They're looking for unique pieces. And they're moving away from, just cheap throwaway fashion, low quality items, and they're willing to pay up for items that hold their value, which means that this way of sourcing, it's not just helpful. It's really where the market is headed. Now, where most people get stuck is this. They start to see how this is possible, but they maybe don't fully trust that this is going to work. They're thinking, is this actually worth picking up? How do I even price this item? How do I title it? What if it doesn't sell? And those are some real fears that can hold you back from stepping forward into this new method of sourcing. And the missing piece really is what I help people with inside of the Empowered Reseller, because this is not just about sourcing. It's about knowing what's worth picking up, how to get it listed, and how to actually get it sold. Like that's the most important part of all of this is actually making sales. And maybe you're at a place where you're just kind of frustrated with the results that you're getting. You've been putting in the work, you've been putting in the time, you've been doing everything right, but you're not making sales. Well, inside the Empowered Reseller, this is exactly what I help you with. I give you a clear path, no guessing, no second guessing yourself, no overthinking, but a clear path on what sells, how to get it sold, and really how to make consistent daily sales, to look at the big picture and do this in a way that's not taking over your life, not taking over your house, not taking over your time. Also, you get monthly deep dives. This is one of my favorite things because every month we're breaking down a new proven clothing niche, not just brands, but the styles behind them, the keywords behind them, and what buyers are actually searching for. This is the missing piece for most people because it's not just what you find, but it's how you get it listed and sold. And then AI tools. This has been a game changer for my members. They're creating titles and descriptions, even for multiple listings, like 5 or 10 at once, in a matter of minutes. And so they've been able to get more listings up in way less time and without the stress of having to second guess every single decision. And this part is so exciting for me to see what is possible. And instead of items just sitting there, to actually get them up and listed, because that is the key to making sales, right? Is to get them listed. The easier that we can make that for you, the more successful that you're going to be. With the Empowered Reseller, you also get personal help. And I love this about being part of this community is I'm able to give personal help, look into your specific situation, into your store, into your closet, and be able to give you exactly what needs to be fixed, what's going on, because sometimes you're so close to the problem you can't see it yourself. And this is through things like my Q&A days and being able to just be alongside you within my community. And it's also about having predictable results. I help you build monthly income, daily sales that is reliable, that is consistent, because I help you look at the big picture and not just at individual single items. What makes the Empowered Reseller different is that I'm not just teaching you what to source. I'm not just teaching you what sells, but I'm really teaching you how to think. Because when you start getting a clear path for what actually works, instead of jumping from video to video, instead of trying to piece things together, you know exactly what to focus on. You know what to learn next, and you really know how it all fits together. And that's really just the beginning, because it's not, again, it's not just about sourcing. You're going to learn how to source based on what actually sells, yes, but you're also going to learn about so much more, not just brands, but the styles, the aesthetics, the buyer intent, so that when you walk into a store, you're not guessing anymore. You know exactly what you're looking at. You know exactly why somebody would buy it. You know exactly what you would price it for, why they're buying it, the words that you would use to be able to market it and position it correctly, to be able to bring in sales quickly. Again, it doesn't stop there with the sourcing, because we also dive into how to price your items so they actually get sold, how to title them so buyers find them, and how to position them so they stand out from everybody else. We also go into the systems that make this sustainable. Again, without this taking over your life, without having to hustle, things like managing your inventory, saving time so you're not spending hours on just a couple of listings, and really understanding what's working and what's not. And as you grow, we've got more advanced training in there as well. Things like being able to increase your sales, setting up your store, scaling with what you already know is working. And so this is just one of my favorite parts about this, is that you get access to this entire course vault that walks you through from level 1 of just starting out, level 2 where you're kind of growing and you're growing your inventory, you're growing your sales, you're growing your profits, all the way up to the mastery level where you've really got a hold on this and you really are in command and confident to know that you have sales coming in and you know what your even monthly income is going to be, and that's consistent month to month. Now, what this looks like inside of the Empowered Reseller, we're not trying to learn everything at once. Each month we focus on one specific niche and we go deep into that niche. We break down exactly what to look for, what makes it valuable, and how to list it again so it actually sells, because that's the whole point, is you're here to be able to make money. Again, so you're not guessing, you're recognizing these pieces while you're sourcing. That's where the money is made. Now, just to give you an idea of some of the topics that we've covered in the past, we've covered everything from vintage boots to knit sweaters to kids' character clothing to the whimsy goth aesthetic to band tees. And these are all categories where buyers are already spending money. And every single month, again, we have a new topic. So you're always building on what you know without feeling overwhelmed. And the way it works is really simple. You get access to whatever it is that we're working on at the time, and every new deep dive that comes out while you're a member. So the sooner you get in, the more you're able to learn and stack over time. Now, one of the most valuable parts that I mentioned is that personal help. And this is through my Q&A days, because you can watch trainings, you can get your specific questions answered, not just watch the trainings, but get your questions answered in these Q&A days. So if you're stuck on something like, why isn't this item selling? Is this item worth picking up? What are the keywords that I should be using? How should I be pricing this? How would you title this? How would you get it sold? All of those questions, you have a place to be able to come and get answers for those. And I know a lot of you are busy, so I actually have this set up in a way, myself having kids and a busy schedule, I have this set up in a way for it to be able to work with real life, with being able to actually submit questions ahead of time if the time doesn't work out for you or day doesn't work out for you, and then being able to watch them on a replay, get your answers on a replay, so that you're not tied down to a specific schedule if you're like me and happen to have that super busy schedule, just busy time of life. I totally get that. The other part that I love about the Empowered Reseller are my members, and that we get to hang out together, that we get to have a community where people are building each other up, where we're encouraging each other, where you've got people who just get you, who know what it is, some of the struggles that you're facing, some of the wins that you're having, that you have a place to be able to come and share those wins, to share those struggles, to be able to connect with other people who are doing this alongside you and doing it in a way that is without the hustle and really about working smarter and not harder. And just being around a community like that can do so much for you. I cannot stress that enough. Now, right now, when you join the Empowered Reseller, you also get my free welcome gift, which is the Keywords That Sell bundle. And this is all of my posters, my Keywords That Sell posters, as well as Keywords That Sell guides. And honestly, this alone can cover your cost of being able to join the membership, because this isn't something that you have to wait months to use. It's not something that you have to spend tons of time learning. You could literally get this today and then start applying it to items that are in your inventory right now, that are maybe listed right now and have been sitting there. Because that's what I hear from users of the Keywords That Sell products, is that they go in apply these keywords, and in some cases, even bump up the prices and have sales in some cases coming in the same exact day. And so that is part of the welcome gift for every single member inside of the Empowered Reseller. Again, because this is such an important piece of being able to get your items sold and being able to get the most money for them and sold quickly. Another super cool thing is I've actually taken all of those keywords that sell resources, the posters and the guides, and have actually built custom AI tools to be able to help you get listings up faster. And I'm hearing so much feedback from my members where this has really cut down their time, that it's better than just generic AI. I've really built everything into that. The cake keyword layers that you saw earlier, this is built into these tools. All of those keywords that sell resources is packed into these tools. And so to be able to use these, cut down on your time savings, to be able to get your titles written, your descriptions written, and to be able to have 5 or 10 of them done at once, items up and ready to go, hit list and have them live. That has been a huge time saver for my members, because again, items that are just sitting there not listed, they're not making you money. So the faster that you can get them listed, the more likely that you're going to have a sale come in, right? You're not going to sell an item if it's not listed. And so that's really the goal of those AI tools, is to be able to make that easier for you without having to stress out about every single word in your title or every single word in your description, and to be able to get them up quickly in a way that is going to meet your buyers right where they're at and put those items right in front of your buyers. Now, when you put this all together, everything that's inside of the Empowered Reseller, you're getting a clear path so that you're not guessing what to do next. You're not trying to piece this together on how to do this on your own. You're getting the monthly deep dives every single month, so you know exactly what to look for, specific proven categories that are already selling. You're getting the keywords that sell system, so your listings actually connect to your buyers and what your buyers are searching for. You're getting those AI tools so you can create listings quickly in a matter of seconds without overthinking every single one. You're getting those Q&A days, that personal help. So when you get stuck, when things come up, you have a place to be able to come and get help. You have that community of support alongside you. You're not doing this alone. That is the biggest piece of this, is you're not on your own trying to figure it all out yourself. You have everything working together. This is not about just learning more, because you can really do that anywhere, but it's about making this simpler, making it faster, and in a way that you can actually get results from it, actually get sales coming in more than you currently are. And maybe you're at a place right now, again, where you might be frustrated with how things are going. You might be frustrated with the amount of sales you're making, or the lack of the amount of sales that you're making, where you've been putting in the work but you're not seeing the results. And it's time for that to change. So really the choice is up to you at this point. So you have 2 options. One, you can keep figuring this out on your own, trying to piece things together, second guessing yourself of what to pick up, what to list, wondering why things aren't selling, getting frustrated when you're not seeing the sales that you should be. Or you can have a clear path, support when you need it, a community to do this alongside with, that's going to be there every step of the way to be able to encourage you, and so that you actually know what it is that you're sourcing and how to get those items listed and sold. And so the choice is yours. And at the bottom of this slide, you're going to see the link to be able to sign up for the Empowered Reseller membership. I've also got it in the first link that's in the description below this video. But if you're ready to stop second guessing every single decision. You're ready to stop just feeling overwhelmed, wondering why this isn't working for you. I want you to know that we're here for you. We're here to help make this simpler, to make sales faster, and to make sales more consistent. And that's exactly what the Empowered Reseller can do for you. Because I know what reselling has done for me, the freedom that it's given me, the freedom that it's given other members, other people that I've been able to help, where they're seeing consistent sales come in. And I know that you can have that same freedom. You can experience what that's like to have consistent sales, to know what it is that you're picking up, how to get it listed and sold. And I would love for you to be able to come and join us inside of the Empowered Reseller. We'll get you up to speed quickly. You might feel like you're behind, but you're just right around the corner from where you want to be. You're closer than you think, and we are here for you. Again, the link to join is in the description below this video, and I hope to be able to welcome you inside of our community soon. Now, if you're not quite there, I'm still here for you, and up next, I will have a video linked for you of some of the style-based sourcing that I mentioned earlier, and in this video, I show you 50 style-based pieces that are selling. So just click or tap the screen, and I'll see you there.